Hey guys, and welcome to Coffee with Carda, where we will talk all things music and life with the amazing people involved in our industry. We will chat about our experiences, where we are currently at in our careers, and how we're looking to grow and leave our mark on the industry. I hope you enjoy the show. Let's get straight into it. Hey guys, and welcome back. Episode 3 of Coffee with Carda. Today I'm joined by an awesome guest, someone who has worked with some really amazing artists in the industry as a producer, as a mixing, mastering engineer, and a writer. Worked with the likes of Dean Lewis, Angus and Julia Stone, much, much more, which we will dive into. Super pumped to have this legend on the show. Welcome, Dylan Nash.
Thank you. That is so pro. You've done 3 episodes and you're already that good and that professional. You've got the voice.
Yeah.
Do you have theme music? Is there going to be some sort of a drum roll and a...
Yeah, there's going to be an intro. There's going to be some things before that. And then we're going to... Yeah, you got to, talk up the guest, man. These
This is your calling.
What's that? Is my calling? Radio host. No, it's fun. It's been good fun. I mean, off the bat, I like to always start. Are you a tea or coffee drinker? Are you?
I have a coffee right here.
Yeah, beautiful. Likewise.
But you can only have so many of them in a day. So usually by 2 p.m. you're on the teas. Maybe an extra coffee in the day. I don't know. Just depends on what you're doing on the day.
I'm exactly the same. Coffee in the morning and then 2 or 3 and I'm just buzzing and it's cooked.
There's something about the need for novelty beverages or little snacks throughout the day when you're in a session or you're producing by just the little things to keep you motivated or the little things to break up the day, because I think it's sometimes when you go and leave the room to make a coffee or go get something, that's when you can have the breakthrough moment. So
yeah, interesting. Yeah, that's a fair call, actually. Just when you take your head away from the space and you can just think without thinking kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the perfect thing would be to have a writing session and then next door you just have a shower, because you have so many epiphanies when you're in the shower. Not everyone together in the session, but if there was just, got to take 10 minutes, go have a shower. I think I did that once in an old
just jump in the shower.
Yeah, I think that'd be really healthy for the session. I think dream studio, maybe a shower, sauna scenario. I've been in your studio. I've spent some time in yours.
Yeah. Well, I've actually got a shower right at the back of mine. There actually is a bathroom and there's a shower.
Way
I
ahead.
It was here when you were here, but
no, I think it was the beginnings of it.
Yeah, the beginning. That's right. No, we've got a bathroom in here, so you know what, dude? I can do that.
That's a great call.
I'm gonna take on.
I think it'd be a bit weird, a first time session, a new person you haven't. Any point you want to go and jump in the shower, it's not creepy. Just feel free. Fresh towels.
Oh shit, that's unreal. That's so good. All right, well there's a little nugget for you, everyone listening. Just freshen up, have a shower early or mid session to clear the head. All right, man. Well, let's just jump into, I just want to get a little quick recap to how you are now, or where you are now. And then we can kind of just go from there and really move on from there. Because I just love to know how you got to
I feel like I'm on a game show.
Yeah. Well, this is a actual game show as well.
Great.
At the end, I do offer options to win $10,000.
Huge! Wow,
that was the.
You are really pro.
There was a sneaky thing I didn't add in there.
Crazy.
So yeah, dude, just a bit of a recap, man. Just a recap on where you're at, or where you've been.
I'm doing, how I got to here, or what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, how you got to here. Yeah.
I just found guitar and in year 7 or year 8 of high school.
Yeah.
I think I've always had a very obsessive personality. And once I picked that up, I just dove into it. And, I used to play sport a lot and my interest in that just kind of went and got replaced by music. And then, played in high school bands. did a uni degree and quit within 2 weeks and joined a band, which then became a thing I did for like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And met a lot of friends, and all the way through that time, just watched a lot of YouTube videos. I think that's like the everything that every producer has in mind is countless hours on YouTube of just getting obsessed with production. And just always really loved being in the studio and writing music. I did enjoy performing, but nowhere near as much. And I think, especially when I listen back to the old bands that I played in, like one song would be like this, and then the other song would be a completely different genre. And I think that's what always really excited me, and that's what I get to do now every day, because I'm constantly working with different artists, and I do like, like the range of genres that I get to work on keeps it really interesting for me. So stopped playing in the band and just focused on production and mixing, and then discovered co-writing was a thing. It's like this weird ministry of magic kind of thing that I didn't know existed, the whole co-writing space. And once you kind of, the curtains pull back, there's this whole world, and I really, really dove into that. And like producing up songs that I have written, or, producing songs that I haven't. It's nice to mix it up. And now we're here. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, so you just started producing on your own, like stuff. Obviously, you were in the band, and then you moved to like producing stuff like on your own, and then did you just show it to people?
So when I joined that band that I left uni for, the day I auditioned for it, I met a guy who was and still continues to be a big mentor for me. His name's Antonio, and he had a studio in his backyard, and he kind of quickly saw that I was pretty obsessed with this stuff, and he was actually moving to London and needed someone to track and engineer bands for him. And when he moved to London, I would do that and send it to him to mix. So he kind of taught me engineering a lot more, because I was recording acoustic guitars and doing like, electronic production, my own stuff, and recording my own guitar. I played in like a pop punk emo band, so there was lots of that going on. But he kind of gave me the skills and really like invested a lot of time into me to, teach me how to record kits and do a lot more, like get a strong engineering base. And I've been really thankful for that with the projects I do now. And through the touring circuit of the band I played in, it just kind of word got out that I was recording my band's music. And then that started, bands from the like pop punk, pop rock scene in Australia were flying in, and actually got to stay in that guy I mentioned, Tony's house, because he was in London and he had a studio in his granny flat. And it was, it's a really amazing time, and just really lucky that I had that opportunity, and kind of word got out. And then through there, because the band I played in had a bit of a, it was always a bit of a electronic production,
as well,
current that ran through it. So I've always been interested in that. And then that's, and that's such a, man, it's limitless. I know how, and you just dive into this world and realize how much there is. And then, so I'm glad I've kind of had, the experience in both. And I think meeting in the middle is now some of the most exciting stuff. I've got this, ability to engineer things and then fuse it with, my love for production. And then, we're here.
Yeah, right. So you've got the best of both worlds, because now you got the pop punk thing, and then you've got like the indie, whatever.
the Hannah Montana.
The Hannah Montana. I threw it in. No, that's.
I think it's funny. So like,
go.
That's where I met a good friend of ours, Joey, aka San Joseph. And it's funny. There's such a big trend that seems to run through a lot of pop music, is this love for like this beginning in rock music or pop rock music, because the best of those songs still have these incredible choruses with undeniable melodies. So
100%. I'm the same. Like we see that so much, like even with like producers and even like DJs I meet in the scene. Like you start chatting to them, and they'll just somehow they love the pop punk, pop rock vibe. And you're right, it is. It's those choruses. It's the melody. It's just like the unforgettable kind of melodies that just stick with you. It's
and you're still trying to achieve the same thing, just in a different genre. Because I think for me, I guess production is the it's the bow and the decoration on the cake, but the foundation of a song hopefully can be transferred between genres. And as you're seeing in music now, it's like there's so much blurring of the lines, and that's what's really exciting. So trying to chase that feeling of that big chorus, or what resonated then, but just in different genres. It's really fun.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's a great take, man. And like because I was just doing a bit of reading up on your life and your bio, and I see that last year you signed to Tap Management.
Yeah.
So was that something that was that kind of a goal? Was that brewing, or was that kind of something that just happened as you?
It was it wasn't on the radar by any means or anything I was chasing. Just a freak set of coincidences. I was introduced. A publisher set up a writing session for me and a new artist, and we wrote a song. And the first song or the second song we wrote got the attention of her manager, and was just like, "Who are you? What are you doing? Blah, 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 blah. Do you have a manager?" And I was like, "Not really." And I still work really, really closely with that artist. And it's funny, those, sessions or opportunities that, I guess it just goes to show that you really never know what's going to happen, and why it's important to try and focus on everything. But Tap's been amazing. And there's some great artists and great, they've got a really good network of writers and especially writer producers. It's been nice to have, like a sounding board to speak to about, career. Like before them, I didn't know what was possible or what, especially when it comes to things like contracts and labels and all that murky waters stuff. It's nice to have someone take care of that and educate you on that. So,
So things that you felt like things have really changed. They've changed for the better, like being with them, with Tap.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's, once again, like kind of like what I talked about with the publishing or like the co-writing space. There's just so much that in music and the music industry is so, behind this curtain that, if you're unaware of it, or there's not the people who, can vouch for you or introduce you to someone, A, you wouldn't know that it exists, and B, it's hard to get to. So it's been nice. And I think it was just one of those, those moments where like your preparation and your
it led you to
work it randomly, like, a freak occurrence. And I think most people who I've spoken to, have those moments happen to them. So it's like, you can kind of never really know, like, when you said I work with Dean, like I worked with him before he released his first song on a video shoot that I was doing the audio for a live thing. And it was I feel like I say this all the time, but like, it was like one of the busiest moments I've ever had. I was mixing an album and had a deadline for a festival and got a call to do this. Hey, can you do this music video audio thing on Friday? And I was like, look, I'm so sorry. Like, I just can't do it. I'm stressed enough as it is trying to mix this thing, and tried to cancel it. And like, and then, And then I got a call back from his manager at the time being like, look, we can't do the shoot without without someone there. Well, we're going to have to cancel the shoot. So I was like, okay. And then obviously that's led to now. And it's just those, those paths in the woods. You go one way and
wow.
I know. Lots of things can change pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask about the Dean. I thought that was through Tap. I thought the Dean Lewis thing was through Tap.
No,
that was just through that random live shoot you did, or did you know?
Yeah, I was doing a lot of live and live performances for artists when they came in to the country, and like they would do a promo thing, and then they maybe play an acoustic song, like in a car park or a warehouse. It was my friend's company, Pat Roll. Yeah, sure. They do really, really cool video production and content. And that's where that all kicked off. And been working together a lot since then.
Yeah, well, that's obviously led to like massive things, really. I mean, was that like working with Dean, because that one, like, producer, you won an album with the ARIAs. Like, that was album of the year with the ARIAs, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
what last year?
As a producer, like was that another moment where you were just like, okay, like this is really happening, or is it just one of those things that, because I kind of find when like moments, I don't know, something like that happens. I mean, like just winning producer of the year, ARIA, like that just happens, every day. But I noticed when like, things like significant things like that happen, it kind of just like happened, and you kind of just look at the next thing, and it's kind of like, I think sometimes you have to stop and be like, shit, man, like I put in all that work and got to that. Like I should really like soak this up for a bit.
Yeah, that was such a strange day. I was actually flying back from Melbourne. I did some sessions and some writing down there, and when my plane hit the tarmac, runway, whatever, in Sydney, when I turned my phone back on, I had all these messages from my manager and like my mum's friend who heard the speech or something. I was like, "Oh, you won!" And I was like, "Oh crap!" Like I had no idea that I knew it was up for it, but I didn't know that it won, and it was really cool because I'm just one of a few producers on that album, and it was a crazy moment. But at the same time, like you said, I was like, I don't know, do I celebrate? I don't really know. I think I went and like had a beer at the pub with my girlfriend and went like, oh, cool. But it's very quickly you realize there's like this tidal wave of other things in the background that you've got to finish, or
that's it.
So it's nice to take a moment, but I think I'm sure you've experienced this. It's one of the things that drives you to do better, is just this feeling of like on to the next thing, and like I think the moment where you feel like you're at a place of satisfaction, whether that be like in accomplishments or like skill set, or the moment you think, oh, I got this dialed, or on this instrument or whatever, that's I think the moment where I feel I do worse work, but also my motivation to work on music, it starts to die down. So I think always learning things and always whatever you can do to keep that fire burning, I think is a really good thing. But I think probably like over New Year's every year, I will like try and take stock of the year.
You'll switch off
and take a moment and see what goals I ticked off, or just go, holy crap, I did this, or I didn't. 3 years ago, I never would have thought this would be happening, and I think that is important, but easier said than done.
It is. Yeah, because I feel like we're like as a muso or anyone in the industry, we're always looking into the next thing. We're always ticking. The mind's always racing. It's good that you switch off and take that time. Do you, with the like staying creative in the studio, like I'm thinking just like what do you do to like stay new, or like when you're in a rut, like will you go to will you go to your guitar because like that's what you're familiar with? Will you like fuck around with the synth? Like what do you like, what's your kind of vibe to change things up? Because like, we can just get in a rut sometimes,
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think one big thing for me has been like really trying to safeguard, if I can, at least one day where I am not doing anything musical, or like I'm not in the studio, I'm unable, whether it's like going for a bushwalk, or like when I go out now, I turn my phone off or leave it at home just so I can try and switch off. And I think that's one of the ways I've been able to try and protect a bit of burnout, because it's in those moments as well that you are switched off, kind of like being in the shower, when your subconscious ticks over, and you will get those ideas, because when you're trying to force ideas in sessions all the time, sure, some great stuff can come out, but there's something magical about that idea that just kind of comes from nowhere whilst you're in the shower or going for a walk, or driving to your mum's house, and you're like, oh no, shit, I got a voice memo of this quickly.
Legit, yeah.
But musically, I think like I said before, COVID's been a pretty great time to find a little bit of time in the day to keep learning. There's a lot of producers who have been doing some great live streams. Like I've been watching Ian Kirkpatrick and Oliver and Dwilly, like a whole bunch of, and Ricky Reed. Yeah. So, and just getting inspired that way, and learning through other people's techniques has like, that's been really, really big for me, because I think before COVID, I was struggling a little bit for like about a month, just getting things done and getting through it. But felt like I was reaching into my magic bag of tricks like Felix the cat, and there was just nothing left to pull out. And then I don't know, like whether it's, a couple of years ago, I didn't play piano, and I was like, I should probably learn to play piano as a producer.
For sure.
Just finding new things. I just got a drum machine, which has been, cool little things to change it up or workflow. But man, honestly, like writing with so many different people.
I was just going to say is that something? Yeah.
It's like, there's always so much to learn / steal from your friends and artists.
You get the gems from everyone.
And absolutely. Like, and whether it be just different people's tastes in melody or how good some people, I forget, I've got so many friends who I work with and I forget how good they all are at music. And you just, sometimes you're just like, holy crap, you are like a guitar virtuoso, or like, I had no idea that your theory knowledge was that crazy, or just their gut instinct for things. And I think that's really, really inspiring. There's been sessions where maybe the best song didn't come out, but there's that one chord change that you never would have gone to, or that, I know it's really cool when you have friends who are that talented and you feed off each other. And I think it's one of those things where if you do feel like one of your friends is in a rut musically or just personally, I think that's when, kind of try and take it upon myself to, amp them up, because everyone goes through it. And especially music being such a solitary thing at times, it's very easy to get in those personal or musical ruts. Yeah,
no, for sure. I think that's a big one for like anyone listening. Like sessions is just like, it's like when we were talking about 10 minutes ago, it's just like when that world opens up, you realize like, I think I've only been doing sessions for like maybe 1.5 years, 2 years. But like I look back at all my songs now and the best songs came from sessions. Like having that influence from someone else that just isn't your own. You're not going to your same like chords. You're not going to your same sounds. Like that is when the magic happens. And you just got to just like reach out to people, reach out and start. Like just anyone, even if you've got like, a mate from high school, that's kind of where it starts. Like it's probably where it started for you and where it starts for a lot of people, just like anyone you know. Because I'm not surprised by your answer, like saying that all the creativity and inspiration comes from other people and sessions. And I think it's a good thing to note for anyone, for like any aspiring musicians or producers, because big one sessions, and they can be scary a bit. Because like you can get intimidated. You can like you kind of know when you're in a session with someone better than you, and you're kind of like shit. Like they almost force you to be better. Like if it's like their theory, like you said, is better, or like they can play piano, or like they can just like slay it on guitar. It's kind of like shit. Okay, well I kind of like need to like learn an instrument, or I kind of like need to brush up on my like production so I can like almost out alpha the alpha in the room.
But I think that's where the magic happens. And I think like, like when you're the best in the room, you probably aren't learning as much. And
that's it.
I think that's like, those sessions that do intimidate you or scare you for good reason, they're those opportunities to like really prepare. Like I'm so big on, having some templates of sounds that work for that artist ready to go. So I think those big, scary sessions, they're the ones that can potentially change things as well.
No, that's a great call.
I think a lot of the time, just knowing when to sit back and listen. If you do have, like you said, that chord monster who's like way out of your league, you're like, wow, this is like an opportunity for them to drive the ship in this. And, there's always moments where your taste as a producer or writer, like it's always going to be back and forth. But those are, the moments where you can sit back and go, wow, something really different is going to happen. Or like, maybe it's definitely something that you wouldn't have done on your own, because you can always write songs on your own. But I think that's the whole elusive magic of songwriting sessions when you have 2 or 3 people in a room and it's just this melting pot of ideas. And I think that's why at the end of the day, you all kind of sit back and go, holy crap, what just happened? Like, we have this finished song now, and none of us would have done this on their own, regardless of, someone brought the idea in, someone had this lyric hanging around, someone's always wanted to go to this chord, someone's had this topic they've always wanted to write about. But it can just be that one moment that, you never know when the breakthrough is going to happen, and you never know when that magic moment's going to appear. Yeah.
No, it's a fair call. Do you with your sessions, like, do you go in with a focus on like this is the artist, this is the songwriter, you're obviously the producer, and like we're writing for this person, and then to follow that question up, do you find like so many songs just like don't get released and like finished? And is there like a reason why? Is it like what do you bring that down to?
Because they suck. Because the songs suck.
There's a lot of good songs that I hear as demos, and I'm like, this should be out in the world. Like, why? And it's just like hasn't found the right home, and it happens all the time.
Yeah.
But it's one thing that like I just can't. I don't know. I just can't wrap my head around it. I don't know why.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the many things that I've kind of had to learn to reconcile with, is because so much of as a producer writer, once the song leaves your room and you send the Dropbox link or whatever, you may think you might be able to like, I know, influence it somehow, but for it to get released. But there's so many powers at play. This artist is writing a billion sessions. There's a label, there's a vision, there's a manager. So I think as much as I can, I try to just let it do its thing. But recognizing that if there is more that you can do to the song post that day, or you working on the production later, if it's a song you really, really believe in, I think that's when, there's been songs that kind of get a meh response from the label or the artist or whoever. Or the artist and I really love it, and you're like, no, there is something in this. And it's, if you're that passionate about the song, it's up to you, but it's on you to make that happen, because a lot of the times, I'm that annoying person who's voice memoing everyone after the session being like, hey, it went really, really well, but I think the pre-chorus, what if we swap this? I've done this other arrangement. What if we start with the chord? Whatever it is, I'm that person who, will try and exhaust all, possibilities to make it, rewriting lyrics, changing melodies, whatever it is. But sometimes you get it right the first day. I kind of forget what your first question is, but
so did I. To be fair.
Sweet.
It's all good. It's like it's all good stuff. Like, I think that's another point. I was talking the last few podcasts about like writing something good, but knowing when like something's like great and something's like even better than good.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like, I feel like you get to a stage where you write good and you release it, and then as you work up more, you're like, nah, this isn't going to cut through. Like people, I think a lot of artists kind of like, why isn't my music getting heard? Or like, what? Like I had someone hit me up yesterday, like, oh, what marketing things do you do to like get your music heard? And I'm kind of just like, you can do all this stuff like Instagram stories, and like you can, I don't know, like, a picture to YouTube, like channels and whatever. But like ultimately it's just like the music, man. It's like people don't resonate with your music. It's like, well, that's like the first and foremost thing. Like I can't tell you how to get on a Spotify like curated playlist. It's like Spotify, obviously,
me either.
Like the song. Yeah, like no one can unless you're the, unless, who's the guy that runs Spotify? I forgot his name or their name, but like
it's like the Wizard of Oz. He's this like evil figure working,
man,
pulling the strings, the master of puppets.
And it's like, it just comes down to getting like that music right and knowing when something's good and it can be better and get it to great. And sometimes it happens like a month. Sometimes it happens in a year, like you said.
Oh, absolutely. And I think I think it's more like recognizing what is good and what is great. And that's so hard to do. It is like,
it's subjective as well, but that's why you send it to people and you get feedback. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think if you know, one of my favorite phrases, I always talk about it with her artist name's Allura Ebony. She's a good friend of mine that I write with all the time.
Yeah.
With this, I forget where it came from. I think it's a screenwriting concept, but it's just like, don't be afraid to kill your babies. That sounds real intense. But like, if it's the idea that started the song or the lyric or the concept or whatever it is that was your favorite idea at the start of the day, maybe that's the thing that needs to go to finish the song. Like if you're stuck, there's always something that, you know, and it can be hard, like ego-wise, to be like, oh no, but that was the thing or whatever.
Yeah.
But if, you know, recognizing that there is something magic in what you're doing and identifying what maybe is the good and what's the great, sometimes you just got to be pretty brutal.
Yeah, no, it's a fair call, and it's tough. That like we're speaking now, and I'm just like in my head, like there's no right or wrong answer, but like I know that like there'll be someone listening to this that'll just like take something from it and be like, oh shit, like maybe I do need to just scrap this idea and stop getting so attached to it, and just like maybe keep the same chords, but just like fresh melodies and like, you know.
And that part can be a part in another song. That might be the perfect thing to start another song. And I think that's like another thing I've realized. Anytime you have, you know, an idea to voice memo or a chord progression or whatever it is, like the amount of times that you thank yourself later. And there's always that moment when you have that idea where you're like, it's that point of resistance where you're like, am I going to roll out of bed and get my phone? Am I going to go to the piano right now? Am I going to whatever? But if you can kind of overcome that moment, you'll thank yourself so many times, because that one little idea that you got attached to will, you know, inevitably pop up again, you know, or spark a new idea one day when you're flicking through your phone. Like, oh yeah, that was, I use this app called Evernote, and because you can voice memo into it and you can tag it. Our friend Joey got me onto it.
Oh, and that's what he uses, Evernote. He never told me what that was.
Yeah. It's a bit clunky, but the fact that you can voice memo and add voice memos from your phone into it, and you can kind of consistently build on that one thing. And then if you're like, so I'm going to do a session with, you know, an acoustic artist, for example, like I'd tag things acoustic or like riff or guitar or whatever. And you can just quickly go through all those little ideas. I know I'm going way off track here, but
no, I did that.
That was a big thing for me. When I was introduced to that, because it just, you know, being prepared and having options and, you know, feeling confident when you go into a session to have that one or two ideas in the back of your mind that you can show to break the ice, or maybe that's the thing that gets a song started. No, I digress.
No, that's a great one. Evernote for all those listeners, because I didn't even know that, to be honest. And like, that's a great tool to have for sessions and preparing for sessions. Evernote. I'm going to say it.
Future sponsor of the podcast.
Future sponsor of Coffee with Carda.
That's it.
Monetization. We are on.
Episode 3. And you're already raking it in.
Making bank. That is what we're about. That's the only reason why I did this, just to make bank. All right. Well, we're slowly getting towards wrapping, but I want to ask, like, what's next for you? Like, where do you want to go? What's kind of keeping you like inspired and motivated, and like where do you ultimately like see yourself? Like, can you see yourself doing this for like ever? Do you want to call it at some stage? What's the vibes?
No, I think I signed on the dotted line of just do this forever. It's like, you know, it takes up 9,000% of my life, so I don't think there's any going back at this stage.
Yeah.
Right now, just working on a lot of different projects. It's really cool, man. Like, and you would experience this yourself, is having that network of people that you work with closely, and you know, collaborating with them and all feeding. That's not the right word, but all like, you know, buzzing off each other and consistently working. It's a moment that I feel like a lot of my really close friends, whether I do work with them or I don't, and I'm just friends with them, there's a lot of people making a lot of great music, and it feels like this next 6 months post-COVID, it's going to be a moment where there's a lot of great music that a lot of people have been working on for a long time, and that's really exciting. Whether it's San Joseph, Allura, Shannon James, the EP I did in your studio that you're sitting in, which I owe you. For everyone playing at home, Carda got the call about a week before I needed a studio, and very, very, very graciously offered me a studio to work out of in Melbourne, very short notice. So forever in your debt. And that EP is just about to come out.
And that's sick. Like I've listened to those songs and even that's cool. It's like, yeah, cool. Like you worked on that in the studio and they're amazing songs by Shannon James. You guys should check them out. Yeah. Well, that's sick. Yeah. So you're working with San Joseph, Allura. Yeah. Like, so these artists are just keeping you.
Lots of stuff.
Yeah.
The Million, new Dean album working on at the moment.
Do you have any like
there's
big
a lot.
goals? Like big kind of goals or?
I think like definitely I have some long-term visions / goals that I'm always kind of working towards. You know, I do want to move overseas at some point,
right.
and continue working on it. I've done a couple of trips overseas to work, to write, to produce.
Where was that?
Really
LA?
enjoy that. Yeah, in London last year as well. But I think LA potentially is the spot, especially with Tap. They've got a really good, and that was one of the reasons I ended up going with them, is because they've got such a great network and over there. But yeah, I think short-term goals is always like, you know, you want this amount of songs to be cut or whatever. But I think at the moment it's I've really just diverted my thinking more to leveling up my skills. And I know with my, you know, if I'm continually working at stuff or improving or you know, trying to obtain a bit more of this in my production or like a bit more of this in the songs I write, all those other goals, you know, I always have little goals, but they'll get ticked just through continually working hard. I think that's, you know, I write with some of the best lyricists and some of the best songwriters and the best musicians. But all I've known now is that I think like as long as I'm working really, really hard, and staying motivated on the music, that stuff will take care of itself.
Yeah. Great little nugget.
And it's a nice thing. It's a nice thing as a producer writer to have, you know, your success is other people's success. And that's one of the nicest things about having previously been in a band. Like I'll always be very competitive, but like there was always that like, oh, this band's doing this. And I'm assuming artists, you know, experience this to some level, but it's nice knowing that I'm working really, really hard to help my friends make the best music they can. And that's, you know, when their music, you know, starts to take off or a song gets added or, you know, it's on the radio or whatever it is, that's the moment. It's a really nice moment. Such a wholesome moment. So I think just chasing after that and continually trying to be, you know, that support for the people I work with is where a lot of the personal satisfaction comes as well. So
yeah. No, 100%. And it makes sense as a producer to get that reward, like seeing the artist you've just been working with and almost like you could even mentoring sometimes in a way, like seeing them get success, like that would be like such an awesome feeling. Yeah, for sure. Well, I did have one more.
What's my 10 grand quiz, Carda?
Sorry, the quiz is coming. You just wait till the end. You wait. I was going to ask one more.
The dollar signs are just popping up.
Yeah, that's it. I'm going to bring out 2 cases. You're going to have to pick the number. It's going to be 0 or 10K.
Wow.
It's big. It's big. Like I'm saying, we got some investment for this show. Got some investment. The La Familia, the family have really invested in Coffee with Carda.
Whoa.
What was I going to say? I was going to say, is there any is there an artist you just want to work with? Like, is there someone? I don't know. Like, is there? Can you see like the Ian Kirkpatrick's working with like Dua and like
absolutely.
Do you ever think like, oh shit, that would actually be dope? Like, or do you kind of just like love working with like these like up and comers?
I don't think so. Like, I obviously have my favorite artists. Like, you know, my favorite band is the 1975. They're a self-producing band. I'm not going to work with them. They're going to do their own thing. But I think more so my goals are more, you know, aspiring to be someone like an Ian Kirkpatrick or a Joel Little or you know, like a Jack Antonoff, in a way that they're these people who do really long-term projects. Like, you know, Jack Antonoff does whole albums or 6 songs on an album or, and like I said, those relationships that I build or like I'm really lucky to have with these people I've been mentioning. Like that's where, you know, I think a lot of really cool art and a lot of great songs are written because you're writing together all the time. You're doing a whole album together, or you know, and you're able to be vulnerable together, and you're able to not just write on a surface level. I think those are more the goals. Like, yeah, obviously, like up and comers, absolutely, like always should be listening out for new music. But I think, yeah, my aspirations, like I said, are more to be like that person and to be working with that caliber of artist, that, you know, the next Dua Lipa or the next Lord or whoever it may be. Because, man, there's some, like I said, these people that, you know, you and I know and work with, they have that ability to be that person, and your job is to, you know, do everything you can to try and be that, and not chase that, you know. It'd be great. Look, I'm not, you know, Taylor Swift, if you're listening, let's do a song. But
it's a bit like that. That makes a lot of sense. There is so much talent, and I think like the relationship you have with those people, it's just like you found your few artists that you worked with, and you just like now honing in on them, and I think that can be like rewarding in itself. It's not like you would have sessions, you know, you would have sessions like here and there, but I think like you almost have found the few you want to really work with, and you get along with them. You've got a good relationship with them. You know their writing styles. You like bounce off each other, and like that in itself is exciting to work with.
Yeah, for sure. But at the same time, it's like there's always, you know, you always work with someone for the first time. So it's not, you know, I'm always listening to every demo that gets sent, or, you know, something on Instagram. I'm always listening. Like, it's like, you know, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream? Why? Well, you had to have it first. You have to have it once for the first time. Yeah. So, and it's so quickly how, if you vibe with someone and you write a great song, that one song can, you know, quickly become, you know, you can end up doing 4 or 5 in a really small amount of time. It's just about finding those people to work with. And I think like that's, I guess, the way I try and pursue, or like I approach sessions. I'm trying to, you know, be that person who can be that person, be the person to be that person. You know, with the look to be a part of the project. And I think that's what I try and evaluate taking sessions and pursuing sessions on the basis of, is like, I genuinely really like their music. Like, and I want to do it. And I can see this one thing that I would love to try with them, or like, you know, I'm a fan of that person. So otherwise, I think when I do the opposite and I'm like, this person's doing really well right now, I'm going to try and do this one. It's not like, it feels a bit fast foody, and I don't, you know, I don't know if I approach it the same, with the same mentality and the same amount of, don't know. No. Once again, I digress. I'm rambling.
No. Well, that makes a lot of sense. It's like if you try and go for that quick fix, like you'll get that quick fix, but then it'll be over, like working with that artist that you want to work with, but you just get that taste and then it's gone. Whereas like you've actually nurtured these artists, and then you get that, like, you know, you're in for the long haul, and it's like you're like, it's like you're malnourished. It's like all this nutrition coming in.
It's all going into a year 10 PDHPE wording going on. You're going to write a song with a concept of nutrition. That's in your future in the next month.
That's going to be the next one, nutrition. But that's awesome, dude. You've provided some awesome insight into you know, the life of a producer. I think it's awesome having you as the first producer on the show, because like, you know, you've worked with like such amazing people, and like you got a good outlook on who to work with and how to kind of go about it. I think you got the right attitude, and it's kind of why you're so like well respected.
Don't know about that.
You're well respected.
Thank you.
No, you are. You're very, very humble, man. Very humble. That's probably, I could honestly keep talking. There's so much that I want to dive into, but I think we'll wrap it up there for those who want to find Dylan, I mean, you can find him Instagram, Dylan Nash, with his, so yeah, Dylan, DYLANNASH on Instagram. And then he's even got a website, dylannashmusic.com. Like, you know, listening to Dylan now, you know, he's always willing to like get demos and listen to your stuff. And you never know, you could be that artist that inspires Dill and work with Dylan. could be the one.
You could be. It's like a dating app, a dating show. You could be so lucky.
Yeah. What show?
I don't know.
Are you
just?
Oh, you're just
put me on the quiz. Just let me win the money.
It was a dating show. No. But yeah, like you're based in Sydney, so that's good for people to know. But yeah, it's really awesome to have you on board, man. Thanks for sharing your experiences, and you know, good luck with all your future projects. I'm super keen to hear all the stuff you're working on. Yeah, super talented dude, man. So yeah, thanks for joining. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. It's exciting. It's an honor to be one of the first guests.
Yeah, dude. I'm excited to see what people think of the show. So yeah, that's it, guys. Thanks again. Wrapped up episode 3, Coffee with Carda. I've nearly finished the coffee, so that's went really well. The game
time to go do some work.
Sorry?
Time to go do some work in a sec.
Time to go do some work. I actually do have a session now, so that
there you go.
I go to show kids. I'm not just a podcast gaming host. I do the sessions. So yeah, hope you guys all enjoyed, and thanks again, Dill. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you very much. See you soon.
Catch you, man. Bye. Thanks so much for listening to Coffee with Carda. I hope you enjoyed this episode. You can check out my music on Spotify by searching Carda, and feel free to reach out to me on Instagram @CardaMusic on what you thought of the episode. I'll see you next time.